Now, not a surprise, Mike, but it really does start the 2024 season now on that new direction under Bo Nix.
By the way, I'm coming from you just right down the street from where that fire press conference was held. And so I think on behalf of 9 News, with this in-home studio we have, we thank all the firefighters and the helicopter pilots for keeping our studio safe here. But yeah, Bo Nix, it was no surprise. He had, first of all, it was no surprise because he was a first-round draft pick, the number 12 overall selection. You knew that he was going to be the starting quarterback when you make that type of investment sooner rather than later. But Sean Payton made sure that he earned it. And he went through all the offseason and he started making his move with Bo about middle of training camp. And then Nix really took off in the preseason. He earned it with the teammates by his play in the preseason against the Indianapolis Colts and then against the Green Bay Packers, both in that joint practice on Friday and Sunday in the preseason game. So no doubt about it, Bo Nix is the starting quarterback in large part because he was the best quarterback going into this regular season opener, September 8th at Seattle.
So what happens now? They have 18 days until that game in Seattle, Mike, and how does this change things? Obviously, there's still a large roster that's going to get cut down next week after the Arizona game, but how much do things change now with him in that number 1 slot?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think he'll play in the final preseason game against Arizona. The starters, Sean Payton's history, he hasn't announced anything, but his history is the starters don't play in the final preseason game. They do use that final game, as you said, for that roster cut down. You know, you've got the back end of the roster. There's 90 guys now. You let the first 35 sit, maybe even 40 sit, and let the other 50 compete for those final roster spots. And so you do that, and then other than that, you just take practice, you work on the game plan, you work against the Seahawks defense. And the big decision they're going to have to make with that roster cut down is whether to keep 2 quarterbacks or 3. Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson both showed that they're deserving to stay on the team on that 53. It is unusual to keep 3 quarterbacks at the beginning of the season. So the Broncos would like to if they can. I'm not sure they will. Jarrett Stidham has definitely earned that number 2 quarterback spot. But then again, Zach Wilson might have the higher upside. So a decision to be made there.
Yeah, only 53 seats on the Ark. Only so many animals can get on board.
Yes.
Mike, we'll get a chance to talk with you much more about this. Big day with Broncos news. We'll talk to you in a little bit when we see you at 5 o'clock. Thanks, Mike.